we're going to go over some insanely game-changing mods that will completely revamp and change your entire gameplay experience. Those include things like optimizations and HUD changes and even player model changes, as well as things that will help your second-to-second gameplay, as well as some massive quality of life changes that will even push that further. And I'm also going to briefly go over how to quickly install these mods. We got a lot to go over. What's up, World Trooper? Back in the video, checking out all things Starfield. And just like Starfield, if you like games with incredible in-depth in-game mechanics, but on the go, then be sure to check out today's video sponsor. Bloodline Heroes of Lithus is an immensely strategic and fun fantasy RPG hero collector. And after playing through this game thoroughly, I just realized how much depth this game actually has. Whether it's building your kingdom or collecting unique legendary champions, by combining bloodlines of elves, demons, demigods, orcs, dwarves, lycans, dragonborn, and even vampires. Did I mention the game is completely free? You can download using my link down below, or by scanning the QR code on the screen. And they even go as far as adding marriages, which can lead to bloodlines and creating 4,000 fantasy hybrid, with each having unique abilities. And on top of everything else, the visuals are just stunning, whether it's on your mobile phone or even SmartPad, with tons of different challenges to participate in, with guild wars, events, and even battles in the arena, where you can fully customize and strategize all your builds with your champions. They're also introducing a new bloodline called Tide Raisers, and these guys are demigods who are extremely powerful and originated from some of the darkest seas. And if you haven't seen the vampires in this game, you sure need to check them out. They are ruthless assassins who rose alongside the dark elves after the destruction of their homeland, and their backstory and lore around the ritual that cursed them has some of the coolest in-depth storytelling I've seen. And just to give even more backstory on some of the champions that you can collect within this game, we have the Lionstone, which is one of the tank champions, and they also just introduced a brand new skin for her, and she is insanely potent on the battlefield. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out Bloodlines Heroes of Lithus, and the download is completely free, which you can do by either clicking the link down below or scanning the QR code on the screen. Additionally, the first 30 people to comment under my pinned comment with their account ID and username will receive a free Legendary Female Succubus Champion, the Luxuriant. And she is by far one of the best mages in the game that will absolutely help your team comp. Thank you again to our sponsor, Bloodline Heroes of Lithus. Okay, so first up, let's just go into briefly how to install most of these mods, as there is a few things with it, and just want to go over it quickly so that people understand everything. So if you are installing mostly any of these mods, and pretty much all of them, you will need to add this little section here into your Starfield custom.ini. Now, you won't actually have this file, but I'm going to have an example or like a generic location on where this file can be located or where you should have it placed. So it should be under your Documents, My Games, and then the Starfield folder, and under that directory, you're going to want to create something called Starfield custom.ini. Start with a new text file, so open up a new text file and then type in Starfield custom.ini and make sure it asks you to change the actual structure so that it's not just a text file with .ini at the end. Then we'll go into it and we'll place this archive and all of these little things here. Now also be aware that some of these mods in their descriptions will actually tell you to go to this location and to place things there. That includes some of my ini tweaks. Now if you want to go over any of the ini tweaks or any of the optimization stuff that I don't cover in this video, be sure to check out my last video, which also covers the first thing we have to talk about, which is the DLSS Upscaler mod, and this is a huge one. Again, if you don't know how to install this properly and you need some optimization with game settings and things like DLSS, or of course XESS if you are using the Intel version, then head over to my last video and you can go in there for the actual tutorial on how to install that one, since it's a little more complex than the rest of these. Now first up, we do have the black nail polish mod for both female and males, and this is by Bulwark HD. It has a very small detail, but I do kind of like it. The only thing I want to report on this mod is that for Andreja, her actual skin complexion doesn't match. So I'm hoping that the modder does fix that there, but you'll see the rest of the female and the crew here, they all have good fingernail polish. If you don't care about that specific companion, or you don't have that companion yet, then you could either use or ignore this mod. I think it's a small detail there, but it definitely adds some nice little scope to the game. Now for the major mods, we do have a big one, which I really enjoy. It is the XP Move or Disable XP Bar, which was created by Johnny Tier UXA. This was the first mod that I installed and downloaded. It's absolutely, other than the DLSS mod, it's absolutely incredible. It's great. There's no more XP on the screen. Really good. Highly recommend. Probably one of my favorites. It makes combat so much more seamless. Everything feels a lot more fun, much more engaging. I'm not sure why they placed it right in the middle of the screen. However, if you still want to have XP, he has the options to either have it on the left side of the screen or on the right side oriented. So that way you could still see how much XP you're getting. And yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't just put it on the right or the left. It seems a bit odd. But yeah, this is definitely a mod that's going to improve your gameplay, and it made it so much better for me in my experience. Another big one is the 60 FPS or 120 FPS smooth UI mod. Now, I'm only getting around 70 FPS, I guess, on the UI, so I don't really need the 120 FPS. So I might go back to the 60 FPS one, but man, it makes the UI feel so much better. Especially if you can get higher frame rate in there, everything feels like butter, everything feels so much smoother, and it even adjusts the actual reticle on your ship as well. So while you're flying around, you notice the reticle in the middle is kind of jittery and kind of has that like frame rate drop with it. It just doesn't look good, especially on PC. Sure, it looks okay on controller since it's a little bit slower, but when I move my thing really, really fast, it just has that jittery look to it. This will drastically improve your play experience with the UI, especially with all the complaints with it so far, and it even does the improvement with the ships as well. We have another incredible UI mod, and this one actually just updated and added the optional 60 FPS to 120 FPS mod as well. So these are in collaboration together. It is the Compact Inventory UI. You can see the before and after pictures here. It just looks absolutely incredible. This is going to be a mod that I immediately install after this video, seeing as they just added the optional 60 and 120 FPS ability. It's an incredible mod just from the showcase here. I really could use this. I'm not a fan of like these big blocky text or big blocky UI models. And since you spend so much time in the UI already, this is going to influence your gameplay like absolutely tenfold. You're going to be able to sort your inventory so much better with this, I can already tell. Especially coming from older games where they're like little blocks usually when you go through the inventory section here, and now there's like major blocks that you have to look at, and they're kind of just not really all that. It makes it really difficult for UI management, so this will make it absolutely so much better. Now we do have another compact mod here called Better HUD. This will make things so much better for your crosshair and also kind of removal of different things. A few things are moved around, like location indicators, and things are moved smaller. There's also a ton of optional files here that it's kind of hard to go over all of them exactly. Some are disabling the XP just like we had with the last mod. There's also disable of enemy hit markers. There's a ton of stuff there with a ton of different UI elements. So there's a ton of options here. If you don't want just the XP modifier or remover, then you could also make the HUD smaller. The HUD doesn't bother me as much, so this isn't a mod that I would use, but I know a ton of people have problems with the HUD and it being a little bit too large and they want it scaled back. So this is a great mod here, especially with all the options that you have here that the modder has provided. There is so many options here. And that Better HUD mod is by KO Matt. Here's one of my personal favorites, the responsive grab. Now this one isn't any tweak, so you don't have to actually use or download any mod. You can just add it to that custom file that we talked about earlier and that I showcased earlier. I'll have the little thing down below. I'll also have the mod down below as well. This modification was dubbed by Seb263. And yeah, you could tell almost immediately. In fact, when I was first going through the game, I was surprised you couldn't move anything. I was like, why is nothing moving? Especially the bodies weren't really moving. And the grab rate is actually quite long to hold down, so this will make it so much easier and so much more seamless. I could tell it immediately how much faster it was. Gave me a way better player experience right off the bat almost immediately for dragging and dropping stuff and kind of moving stuff around. Especially when you see all these pictures on Reddit and people placing stuff and putting stuff in their ship or even in their house. Yeah, this mod will definitely improve that tenfold and will help you out a ton with placements. Now another HUD mod called Enhanced Player Health Bar, and this is by Silver Ezrides. Again, another one of those names I'm probably not going to get right. But this will give you a much clearer and better visual representation of your actual HP. And I've noticed I kind of lose my HP bar in combat, or at least sometimes I'm looking at the left side and then it's my O2 and not on the right side. I think it just being like that white gradient health bar, I kind of just lose it in the combat focus scenario. Especially when I'm like tunnel visualing that, it just kind of goes away. However, I mean, I know it's there in the bottom right. But yeah, this definitely helps a bit with you actually knowing when you're on low health. Gives you a much better visual indicator all the way through, and adds a few more defined colors here, as you can see. It definitely helped me out a ton with losing my player and kind of losing the health bar there. Now I can kind of see it at all times, and I know kind of how low my health is, and I don't have to wait for it to get all the way down to know it that it's all the way low. Now, if you are using Command Console or you want to do things with Command Console, for me, I hate the inventory weight system in this game. It's absolutely atrocious. You can't pick up enough items. It just feels terrible. So I did use one console command, but I still wanted to have my achievements. So I used this and installed this. It is a little bit complex, and if people need a video of me kind of showcasing how to actually install this, then I will. However, this achievement enabler mod by Prograde will allow you to still get achievements, and I fully tested this. I set my level to level 10 when I was only level 7. I still got the Steam achievement, so that was cool, and then I went back to level 7, or reloaded my save actually. So I definitely know that it does work, and it does help, and I just wanted to increase my weight. It's just not good. I also ran into a very serious game-breaking bug, where I wasn't able to shoot or do anything with my weapons. No matter what I did, reload, resaving, going back, saves like 2 to 3 hours, it didn't matter, I couldn't shoot my weapon. In order to do that, I had to use a console command to basically switch my character. You can also head to the enhanced guy, that will fix that bug as well. And I've needed the console command to fix my game, so yeah, I'm glad this is here that I could still get the achievements while also fixing the bug in game. I wanted to include some honorable mentions here, like the Steam Deck Essentials, which will help with some Steam Deck. There's also the init tweaks that I featured in that last video, and those optimization tweaks that I also featured in the last video as well. So be sure to check that out if you want to do further optimizations, or you need a better showcase on how to install DLSS. That's it about cover for today's video. If you like and subscribe. Until next one. Deuce.